Yo, 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 yo. Good morning, good people. It's your man, AC Star. I want to welcome all y'all to the AC Star Morning Show. I hope everything is going good with y'all today. I don't know. I think my screen just froze on me because I see myself, but I don't see myself. So I'm trying to make sure everything is good. Yo, technology is a blip, man. I swear to God, you be thinking things is going good, man, and then technology, man. I'm froze in a mug, man. Damn, man. I can't believe this, man. Oh, man. It was just live, too. I don't know what happened. I'm going to have to try this again, y'all. Oh, man. Let me see if I could freeze this screen now, come back in. Let me see. Take this out. Yeah, let me do this like that. And I think I think that your boy is right there. But my camera all twisted, banged up. I don't know how that happened. What's going on, family? I'm sorry about the technical difficulties, man. It froze up on me. My bad. Let me get everything adjusted the right way. Everything going good. Let me get that right there. Let me lock that in and let's get on with the show. How's everybody doing this morning? Hope everybody is good. It's your man AC Star. I want to welcome you to episode 7 on this February 4th of 2021. Hope everybody is having a good morning, man. Don't forget to tell a friend that the AC Star Show is on right now, everybody. Yo, tell them that I'm on and I'm live and we in the building. Let me start giving big shout outs to all my peoples in the building. I got my man, the esteemed Triple OG. Got my executive producer, Miss Antea Williams, in the building. So, yo, man, let's get into it, man. Today's show on episode 7, we're going to be talking about, we got a little things popping off, man. We got some things popping off in the world right now, especially in the military. We got our Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin right now. He's in the middle of calling what you call a stand down, and the stand down is basically, where units just kind of chill and don't necessarily have too much going on. You report the duty and things of that nature, but you just kind of like chill out, and it's kind of like a training session. So stand down is, it's quiet. It's really regimented. You know what I'm saying, to where your superiors and your units, y'all kind of close ranks, less training, things of that nature, and you try to do some introspect of what's going on. Now, in this stand down in particular is to address the challenges of extremism in the ranks. Now, I've talked about this before. I talked about this on RBR's channel. I talked about it in other places when all this with Donald Trump started boiling over, and we started hearing all the nonsense about the election, or if we take it back to the 2020 election. And I always try to emphasize to people that militias in our country, they take advantage of veterans, right? They take advantage of disgruntled veterans. They take advantage of what we want to call patriotic veterans, or people who pretend to be patriotic veterans, right? So we're dealing with a situation now where it's come to the forefront because they found during their investigation of the raiding of the Capitol building that there was some active duty military people there. There was some National Guard people there. There was some veterans there. And me, myself, being an Army veteran with 8 years regular service and 2 years reserve service, I kind of witnessed it firsthand, the racism in the service, and I witnessed it during wartime. I went to the first Gulf War in Bosnia, and what I noticed, during that time it was a lot of racial strife. It was, and for me, it was different because I came from a place where I didn't necessarily have daily interactions with racial strife. We didn't necessarily, I didn't live in a community where racism was at the forefront. And there were some neighborhoods and towns that, as a black person, I knew as a young black child, I knew that it was, it was off limits, right? It was no need to go in there. It was a place called Chambersburg, Hamilton Township, certain parts of Lawrence Township. It was just a no-go zone. And I knew that, right? I was trained on that. But when I got into the military, it was a different kind of racism. It was more subtle, especially than what I experienced from my superiors. You know what I mean? The sergeants, first sergeants, you know what I mean? So for me, I always had this inkling or this understanding of how racism and extremism is intertwined into the military, and how outside militias, which in our country, a militia is basically a far right wing group that has racial animus towards the government because of their inclusion, right? And they feel like this white nation that they're patriots of should not be so inclusive, and that they're losing their ground and their power. That's what militias are usually formed. They'll use the guise that it's about tyranny and all this and that, but we all know the truth behind that. We all know that it has nothing to do with tyranny. Like, tyranny is not even on the spectrum of what's going on. You know what I'm saying? And it's for me, it's extremely close to my heart, because as a veteran, I loved my time in the service. Like, I went through the racial things, and I got out because of some of the racial things that I went through. And also because it was just, it just wasn't really me at the time. I had become different in my thinking, and I just wasn't with that command structure anymore. But what I noticed in my years in there is that, people that you thought were like good guys or straight up guys, some of them carried racial animus. And like, you always had the quiet white guys who stuck together. They never really interacted with people outside of their race. So you kind of knew where they were coming from. You kind of understood exactly what their mentality was and how they seen, themselves. So let me read a little bit about what's going on. This story is from the U.S. Department of Defense, dated February 3rd by a reporter named Jim Garamone, right? And this is why the story reads. Secretary of Defense has ordered DOD-wide stand down to discuss the problems of extremism in the ranks. Pentagon Press Secretary John F. Kirby said today. Austin and Army General Mark A. Milley, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, met with service civilian leaders and service chiefs to discuss the problem of extremism. Kirby noted that some of the extremists who stormed the U.S. Capitol on January 6 were active duty service military, and others were military veterans. Kirby was quick to say that the vast majority of men and women who served in the uniform and in the military are doing so with honor and integrity and character. And I can second that. I met a lot of strong white, black, Asian men and women who have a good character and good humility, and we're still friends to this day. The first unit I went to in Germany, in Bitburg, Germany, me and majority of the soldiers that I dealt with at that time, we are still friends to this day. We created a bond that was forged in our service and war, and white, black, in between. A lot of those people I would die for, and I would be in a bunker for to this day. So this statement is true. Still, Austin said, meeting with military leaders, that while numbers may be small, they are not as small as anyone would like. No matter what it is not an insignificant problem and has to be addressed, Kirby said during a press conference. The stand down will occur over the next 60 days, Kirby said. This is so each service, each command, and each unit can take the time out to have these needed discussions with men and women of the force, he said. Now, this is not just like Army. This is Army, Navy, Coast Guard. This is military armed forces wide, right? They're trying to purge and this is not necessarily a purging as much as it's like me personally, I don't know how significant this action is going to be, because it's basically, for me, it's just basically a beginning thing to kind of identify the issues and identify individuals that they think may be, have extreme ties and extreme philosophies and ideas. Now, I don't know what 60 days can do. I don't know if this is a purge or if it's just a actual stand down. But I guess in this attempt to start trying to identify some of the people. So as he continues, there's much that's needed to be hammered out, including the details of training that will go along with the stand down and what the secretary and all in the military want to accomplish. The stand down is similar to a safety stand down, which is, a safety stand down is what they check the equipment, check the trucks, things of that nature, check the missiles, guns, whatever your specialty of your unit may be. And if you have equipment and things of that nature that need safety checks, they usually have the stand down safety checks. You usually get those after something happens with, several other, incidents or whatever like that. So I don't know, folks. I think this is one of those incidents where, the people are really calling for something that is an attempt. The command is calling for an attempt to identify extremists. But I said from the get-go, there were gonna be former veterans that were gonna take part in this thing, right? Because a lot of times we don't think that white supremacy or racism is as prevalent and as wide nationwide as it is. So when we see things like this, it's almost like, oh man, it's not that bad. And it is bad and it is significant, right? And then you take people with military skills and military exceptionalism, well, not exceptional, but just military skill sets. And then you take them and you put them in a disgruntled militia. So you take somebody who was an infantryman or somebody who worked on missiles or somebody who flew planes, and you put these guys in militias who are already armed and who already have some military training and some tactical understanding and training, and you put them together with a racial climate, and this is what you get in 2021. We're to the point now where all our norms and all these things that we hid behind closets are starting to come to fruition. So some people might find this as a positive thing that we're now addressing extremism within the ranks of the military. But for me, I find it kind of alarming, and I find it kind of, not surprising, but just alarming that it took this long to acknowledge. Salute up, y'all. Thanks for coming through, man. I appreciate it, man. Don't forget to hit the like and share button, please, brother, and the subscribe button. But peace up, y'all. Thank you, man. I'm trying. So it's really I guess an exposure for people who don't really know too much about the military, because only 1% of the populace go in the military. Like, a lot of people salute and applaud the servicemen and applaud what they do nationwide. The majority of people, find military service to be a valuable thing. Now, you may have your fringe left and right who, battle against the nation and battle against the government and they may not feel like the service is a good option. But most Americans find, servicemen honorable people, and they recognize veterans. So when you see a situation like this where veterans and military, active duty military, now remind you, it said active duty military. Now you had the one lady who was inside the Capitol building, and she was a reservist, right? Then you had another one who was in regular army. She resigned her status. She was a lieutenant, I think a second lieutenant. So she gave up her command, right? She gave up her bars, right? So you see a lot of military people taking part in this because they joined the military as patriots to fend off this kind of thing, right? Like, a lot of people don't know, a lot of white people join, and black people too. Like, Christopher Dorn joined the service. If we remember who Christopher Dorn is, he's the LA police officer that had the kind of meltdown and did it, and reported his manifesto and had that little shootout, right? Now, he trained and he had exceptional training as a Navy SEAL trainee, right? CB, right? And he joined the service, and he talked about in his manifesto that he joined the service because he wanted to give his life and honor and nobility to this country, right? Because he felt like, as an American, it was his duty. And he was disillusioned, and his disillusionedness of buying into, being a patriot and buying into the same thing the white guy stood in line to join the nation. He felt like he was doing the same thing, and then he realized he was disillusioned. But let me parse this by saying there are some white young men, right, that join the service who are joining for patriotic means and not for nefarious patriotic means. I met several. In basic training, 2 stuck out. Guidry and Sumners. 2 white guys. One was from Massachusetts. Well, they both was from Florida, but one was a transplant from Massachusetts and one was born and raised. And I'll never forget these 2 young white guys because their genuine response to me as a person and their genuine leadership was something that will live with me forever. And it was because they were true. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Guidry is the leader of a Fortune 500 company or doing very exceptional. I wouldn't be surprised if Sumner is a great father doing very exceptional. As an 18-year-old man, these 2 young men put an impression on me. So I don't want to give the notion that all white people who join the service are there to do fuck shit, because that's not true. That's not true. But with the environment, we're seeing that there are individuals who have nefarious intentions. Because extremism in the service is kind of easy because a lot of MOSs and a lot of, like, the Coast Guard has rarely any black people in it, right? The Marines has a lot of black people, Navy, Air Force, they have a certain amount. I don't know the numbers. I think it's more black women in the Army. I think it's a lot of black women in the Air Force. I don't know the particulars, right? But I was on the Air Force base and there was a lot of black people, and I know a lot of black Navy veterans. So these are the armed forces that we go into. But when you get into the strategic MOSs or the real, I would say infantry level or mechanized infantry level MOSs, it takes they have different levels of training. You have Rangers, you have Navy SEALs, you have, so that, and these type of units, these special force units rarely have black people in it. Salute, Joe Dub. Thank you for coming through, bro. Salute. They rarely have a lot of African Americans that make it because the training is very hard. It's very emotional. And if you're not super duper patriotic, it takes a lot to dig down deep to go through a lot of that training and go through a lot of the qualifications that you need in order to become a part of these special forces. So those units rarely have black people in it. So you find a lot of your extremists coming from those units. Now, not to say that extremists wasn't guys who were commo guys or guys who were logistic guys, not to say that. But what you do have is you have a lot of highly trained special force guys coming back, joining militias, and actually being the leaders of militia. I mean, if you look at the background of a lot of militia leaders, they have special force training. Now, I don't want to stay on this topic too long, but I just want to give everybody the idea of what this stand down means and why it's being implemented. It's being implemented as this right now is a dog and pony show, but if General Austin or Secretary Austin is serious about, purging the ranks of extremism, then this will carry weight. But right now, I think it's just a momentary action to suit the environment, suit the times. And I think it's appropriate. I think it's a good thing that the Biden administration is doing it, getting ahead of it, unlike Trump, because it's a part in this story that talks about how, well, I think I read that in the New York Times, where how Trump took the funding away and took the unit away that was investigating extremism in the ranks, right? Because he knew he wanted to use these people. That's why he pumped them up. Like, he was like, the military is great, because he was just sending out signals and dog whistles to those who aligned themselves with his thinking. And it worked because, they showed themselves. Now, and the thing is, a lot of these people discounted, right, they were so blinded by their white privilege that they discounted the legal ramifications of their actions. So now we may not see actions like this. Now they may go underground and the actions may come more insurgent and more covert than overt, because that was an overt action. That was an overt way of doing things. But they, didn't account for the legal ramifications. So now some of them are being tried, and so, well, brought up on charges and facing trial and facing criminal action. Now it's like, oh man, we were too visible and too overt. We didn't have a plan. So that's what happens when you have just a bunch of groups and rowdy people thinking that they have some command structure do something like that, because they didn't necessarily have a command structure to what the ramifications and what the repercussions were going to be. So their leaders failed in letting them know what was going to be on the battlefield. So now we see the Department of Defense taking a measure to handle this. So I don't know. We'll have to pay attention and see what comes of this. But as right now, you see that the Biden administration, along with Secretary Lloyd Austin, who during this Black History Month should be acknowledged as the first African American to hold such a position as Secretary of Defense, which is huge, 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 huge. Very huge. So next story I wanted to talk about, ladies and gentlemen, was the new stimulus package that's coming out. Because everybody is talking about the stimulus package. Everybody's interested. Not necessarily because I hear a lot of people saying that they struggle. Now, I know the struggle is real, but I think a lot of people just need this cash infusion just as, something that helps them out, something that just gives them a little more, nuts in the cash box, right? To save and stash away for a later date. I don't see too many people, wilding out with this stimulus, or they're looking more forward to it to just kind of balance themselves out. And now we're getting used to the idea of stimulus. Now, I think with the Biden administration, we may not have that same rancor because they have a little more leverage than with the Trump administration. But the problem here is that, with each incoming administration, whatever party is not in power, they're going to do whatever they can do to kind of mute or kind of take away the potential, good or potential successes that the present and current administration may have. So we're watching now the Republicans and the Democrats are having meetings discussing what's going on, but the Republicans are not really, trying to, make a deal. They're just hapstancing and coming up with, they're going back to their old tried and true. Oh, we don't want to balloon the debt. We don't want to give money to people who don't need it. They're trying to make sure that, excuse me, they're trying to make sure that, they're trying to make sure that well-to-do progressive Democrats that make over $50,000 a year don't get any extra. That's what they're trying to make sure that this money is given to people in need. They're trying to means test a stimulus package, right? Which is done with most stimulus packages. It was done with the last two. It was capped off at a particular number. But see, the thing is, now you're trying to means test people who make $50,000 or more, and that group of people are more apt to vote Democratic than they are Republican. So now you're trying to target them so they don't get the money, and it'll make them think that the Democrats didn't show up. So now the Republicans got a feather in their hat, and now they're planning for the next 4 years, right? They're playing chess. I can agree that they're playing chess, but this is the thing. Will the Democrats have enough people within the structure to talk about how this is just bluff, right? How making it a means test for $50,000 and up is just basically trying to, create dissension between that particular block of the Democratic Party, right? It's all a strategy. But the thing is, the Democrats have the leverage because they have the I keep forgetting the damn name of this damn thing. The reconciliation, right? Which means that they can reconcile the passing of the bill within the House and within the Senate. They have enough to pass it, and they don't need a majority to pass it. Just more, legislative maneuvering. Just more legislative maneuvering. So it's right now, the party line vote is at 50-49 to set the stage for Democrats to advance the plan through budget reconciliation, which will allow it to pass with a simple majority vote, bypassing the need for Republican support. Right? So with that being said, do you guys think that the Democrats need to keep negotiating, or they just need to move forward with the package? Because right now, the Republicans, they're seeking a smaller package, right? The 10 Republicans that met, they want a package of $618 billion, right? I mean, so take 1.9 trillion of Biden, and then you got 618 billion with the Republicans. That's almost a $700 billion difference, right? They're really, so if that's $700 billion, they know that $700 billion would most likely go to Democratic places. And that would enhance the Democrats within their base because now they're getting things done. So that's why they're making, so I guess they want to meet between 618 and 1.9. And I don't necessarily know if that's beneficial to the Democratic Party, saying that they do have the leverage. I don't know if that would be a good thing to do, to continue to negotiate. See what Triple OG say. The only way to stop the fake patriots is to execute. Oh, no, we can't do that, Triple OG. Execution is, see, this is the problem, Triple OG. For me, I think it's the same thing. I think what they keep doing is they don't fight extremism with extremism, right? They're trying to fight it with legal remedies, and that's the same thing they did during the Civil War. Like, legal remedies is not gonna stop. Like, your legal remedies to stop the shaman dude from Arizona because he a fraud. But like hardcore white supremacists, hardcore resolute Nazis and Aryan brothers, legal ramifications will not stop their hustle. It will not stop their agenda. Now, you may pop shot some of those people who was drunk on white privilege. You may get them. But the hardcore ones that's really training and really prepping and really do have command structure, their legal ramifications are not going to get them. So you may have to meet them with extreme violence or extreme remedies. So I'm with you. I don't think necessarily, hanging them is a good thing. You know what I'm saying? I don't think killing them is a good thing. Dems need to move fast, knowing consequences. Yes. And see, that's the thing. The Republicans, and this is the thing that keeps playing, and I want to keep harping because I am also a political commentator, right? I keep hearing these former Republicans or not Trump Republicans, right? I keep hearing them now put their 2 cents into it. I heard somebody on MSNBC the other day, and this guy is more of a geopolitical strategist than an economist. But I heard him speaking about, well, no, that's not what the Democrats want. It's almost like they're setting the Democrats up to fail, that so a more respectable and more acceptable Republican can rise up and push the Democrats out. And I don't know if the Democrats are paying attention to that. And that's why we need more voices from the Black caucus. We need more voices from other moderate caucuses. We don't need to hear the progressive side, because all we hear about is the progressive side of the party or the Republicans. We never hear about the moderates. And I think the moderates and the Democratic Party need to step up and start speaking about the outside influences that's trying to get in and make influence on bills and make influence on this Biden administration. I think that it'll be a detriment to them, and I think it'll cost them an election if they keep playing ball like that. I don't think it would benefit them to do that. Wow, where's everybody at? We kind of light in here today, man. Wow, it's kind of light. But peace out to everybody that did show up. You know what I mean? I got to figure out how to get these notifications and things out there, man. Because we kind of light in here today. We only got like 7 people in here today. But 7 is better than 0. I'll take that. So, yeah, man. And the third thing I wanted to talk about was, this is a little something I was just thinking about myself. I've been watching the news lately, man. And there's been some stories on the news in the last month, like local news, like my New York news and my Philly news. And there's been some stories in the news that's like really bothering me. Really, really bothering me. The one story about the brother who bit the sister in New York, that bothers me, right? Because it's like pre-anarchy days. It's like, how do we get to, you know what I'm saying? What's going on, Sweet Pea? Good morning to you, my love. Good morning to you. Kind of dark in here. What's going on with the light? Technical difficulties today. But those stories are bothering me because I'm trying to understand where we are as a society. Like, where are we as a nation? To like, where, you know, things like that are commonplace, right? I mean, it was disturbing to know that his friends did say, yo, man, what you doing, and grab him, like, where they thought it was where they didn't think to intervene, right? And they see him biting their face and they just see his savage behavior. Like, are all of them like that? Like, where does this pack mentality come from in the black community? Like this pack, right? Like this rowdy pack of kids, right? Like, do they, like, I know I joined my crew, right? Because we had something in common. Well, I don't know if it was brokenness. I don't know what it was. But I know when I was a part of these packs, right? Because I was a part of a few packs. I never really did no nonsense like that, right? But I was a part of packs. So it was like, we just was kids who, you know, drank, smoked, you know what I mean? We really didn't have discipline. Like, I'm not going to say my mom was a pushover and I could do whatever I wanted to do. But it was a situation where if I was outside, whatever I was doing outside, I was doing outside. And moms didn't know, right? And it seemed like as I was growing up, that neighborhood coalition that we had that watched over all the badass kids and could highlight the badass kids and, you know, be like, I'm gonna tell your mom, you know, they see you doing something wrong, I'm gonna tell your mom. And 9 times out of 10 they usually told your mom, or if they didn't talk to you themselves, right, they usually told your parents. So it's like now we're seeing, especially like in cities like Philly and Detroit and Baltimore, you hear these stories of marauding teenagers that's just causing havoc, right? I mean, we all know what some of the catalyst to this is. It's not just all, you know, some cities cut back on funding for after school programs and funding for community programs that keep kids out of trouble. Like us, we had the Y, and we had youth programs and things of that nature. And a lot of those things are gone. So these kids are left to their own devices and they out here causing havoc, right? But I'm disturbed by it all because it seems like it's becoming the norm. It seems like I seen another story in Philly where these 3 little girls seen this white lady and they like beat her up and maced her and took her pocketbook. And I mean, these were 3 like little teenage girls and one of them had on slippers and they carjacked the lady. Like, they carjacked her in slippers. I mean, 3 little girls. Peace, Aries, peace, peace, peace. Everybody, please hit the like button when you come in. Please hit the like so more people can come in and know that I'm live, so we can crack that algorithm so people can come over here and we can get this information cracking. What's good, Aries? Peace, my brother. That's my brother's Aries. So, you know, and it's crazy. Like, these packs usually happen in predominantly major cities, right? Like big cities, right? And you have all these lost kids because the cities no longer have they no longer have departments, so they no longer have infrastructure that's just geared towards the youth, geared towards making sure the youth have structure, making sure they have guidance, making sure they have apparatuses that's in place to allow them to grow and be successful in society. Cities have stopped, you know, donating to or stop having these budget allotments to these programs, and they're putting their money into recruiting businesses or recruiting people in. Like, all these cities are trying to turn into Bluppyvilles and Yuppievilles and bring in all young professionals and push families out or bring in families that meet their criteria or meet their stereotype, right? And forget about all the people that's been there, the citizens that's been there, that's had to deal with the crime and deal with the lack and deal with the dereliction of duty. And I'm not going into a Democrat Republican thing or Democrats the mayors and all that, because a lot of times in these Democratic cities you have Republican mayors, you have Republican led state legislations that don't send funding to these places, that don't allot money to these places. So you'll hear that argument about, oh, the Democratic run cities, they ain't shit. But what about the state legislators? What about the governors? 9 times out of 10, most of them be Republican. So when you take these programs out, you get this norm of marauding teenagers that don't have no guidance and don't have no connection to wanting to be something. So they're out here just being menaces to society, right? Because no one is listening to them. They have no voice. So this is their voices. This is how they're to be heard. So if you don't want to hear me and you don't want to help me become a full body functioning human being, and there's no way for me to get that home training or get that life training, then I'm going to go out here and I'm going to commit mayhem until you hear me. And see, the problem with that kind of communication and the problem with that kind of action is the people that you're trying to get to hear you, their reaction is not going to be, how can I help you? Their reaction is going to be punitive. They're going to punish you. They're going to make an example out of you. They're going to stereotype you. They're flashing those 3 young ladies' faces all across the news in Philadelphia. Every channel, all morning long. So when people getting that fed to them, what do you think they're going to think about young black girls now? They're going to think they're animals. So now we're giving them the ammunition to feed these images to the rest of the world that we're animals. And it's so much deeper than that, but do we have the political will, or do we have the community or national will to address why these things are happening again? Nothing happens in a vacuum. But these stories are disturbing to say the least, because it seems like during the pandemic, our structure has broken down to the point where everybody's primitive behavior is at the forefront because we've been pushed to such a dark place. That pandemic set us back centuries, set us back millennials, and because we're moving so fast forward, we would never take the time to step back and have that retrospect idea of being told to shelter in place. We can feel, people ignore, but you can feel that there is something in the air. You can feel that our life is different. You can tell. And this pandemic pushed us back. So our reaction to it was primitive because we have the muscle memory as human beings to remember when difficult times arose in our evolution as beings. Now, all this may be high-minded talk to people, but just like, listen to me. Try to hear what I'm saying. Try to get what I'm saying to you. See, your brain is a powerful thing. And it has all the information in it. So when you're faced with a pandemic and your brain has never been dealt with that before, then it goes to your primitive brain. It goes to your primal operating system, right? Because you have a primal operating system in your brain. So it goes to the primal operating system to say, okay, this feels like the dark ages. This feels like the time where it was survival of the fittest. So when that person steps up and is living your life, you're not understanding why your rationale is so primitive and your reaction to things is so primitive. It's really deep. So now we're seeing young men and women that don't understand what's going on in a pandemic because their lives is already shambled. It's already thrown all over the place. They already suffer from lack, whether it's lack of love, lack of appreciation, lack of care, lack of compassion, lack of self-care. They already have so many lacks, and then you throw in a pandemic, something none of us has ever dealt with in our lifetime. Then you throw in racial animus. Then you throw in poverty, right? Then you throw in the fact that you just got to live life anyway. Peer pressure, drugs, alcohol. So if you don't have the evolutionary tools to deal with all these life situations coming at you so fast, then you're just going to be at a primitive state. And all you're going to do is pray and knock people across the head and take things and beat people up. You're just going to be at your primitive best self, which is not a good thing. Peace, Miss FedEx. Thank you for coming through, my friend. Good morning to you. Good morning to everybody. Thanks for everybody coming through. Please hit the like and share button. Please hit the like and share button. Please hit the like and share button. So, we're in a situation now where do we have the people, do we have the resources that's going to address some of these ills that we're going to see soon? I mean, because a lot of these things are going to come home to roost. Like, it's just not going to disappear. We're going to have to, when people get to trial for doing some of the things they did, they're not going to be forgiven. Nobody's going to be like, yo, I'm sorry, I can't help you. You beat this old lady up. They're not going to care about those young ladies' mental health or where they were with their personality or their psyche. No one's going to care about how that dude felt in New York that bit that broad. Nobody's going to care about his mental health. You did some savage shit, my man, and they're going to treat him like a savage. They're going to treat him like a savage. So, will we see a continuous of this? Will it ratchet up, or will, when the cross of the vaccine and the cross of human herd immunity, when those things begin to take form, will these behaviors and these primitive stories and wild extreme stories we're starting to see, will they subside or will they continue? What will stop these things from happening? I mean, like, what will make these things from not continuing? What will be the catalyst? Because like now everybody's just in a sense of what's normal, right? Adjusting to normalcy. So if you was poor, you super poor, right? In a pandemic. So if you would so for me, how can we address 3 young ladies, one in slippers, carjacking somebody in broad daylight? And like on camera, just punching the old lady in the face and spraying her with mace. How do we address some shit like that? How do we address the brother that bit the lady in the face? How do we address our young people that's crying out desperately for love and attention? How do we address that? Peace, Hooded One. Thanks for coming through, bro. What's up with you, bro? Peace. How do we address those broken individuals that's out here ruining their lives, sinking their battleships? Where are the black organizations that's going in these communities trying to find out why these babies out here killing themselves like this? Let's just change the race, y'all. Like, I seen a story today, y'all. I seen a crazy story today, right? Straight up crazy story in England, right? 2 young girls, right, in England. They killed this lady, tortured her, put it on Snapchat. I mean, tore her up, like beat her down, hit her with bats. You know what I'm saying? They gave him 15 years, right? So what the High Court in England decided today was nobody will ever know the names of these 2 young ladies because he's afraid that it may be detrimental to their mental health if someone knows who they are, and they may be suicidal when they get out of prison in 15 years. What kind of bullshit is that? Did them 2 little girls care about how they tortured that damn lady and beat her? Y'all, they beat her with a TV. They hit her with nails and boards. They tortured this lady because she was a drunk. So they took advantage of her and filmed it. Now, the reason I brought that up, do you see the sympathy that they get? Oh, don't never tell nobody who they are. We need them to always be anonymous for their safety. Did they think about the safety of the lady that they tortured and killed and then filmed? Peace, Mr. Rel. What's going on? Thanks for coming through, bro. I mean, they killed and tortured this lady, and now they'll never be known to the world who they are. I guarantee you, when the cops catch these 3 teenage young ladies in Philly that hit that old lady, we all gonna know who they are. And if that old lady would have died, we all gonna know who they are. I remember a story in Wilmington, Delaware, where these girls killed this young lady in the bathroom. They put every last one of their faces on the screen. Every last one of them. See, and the reason why I bring all this up, I bring it up to say, because folks, it's our responsibility to go out there and love them babies. We ain't gonna get all of them, But we can't keep letting general society just throw them away and label them and stereotype them and put their images up and just ignore them and don't feed their intellect, don't feed their humanity, and just tell them, fuck you. Fuck you. Because when you see the young black man or woman or child or teenager on the bus cutting up loud, that child is crying out for attention, love, acknowledgement. They need love too. We're too apt to think that young people don't need the same attention that our grown asses need. They need more. Yeah, Triple OG, and they beat her up in the bathroom. You know, she hyperventilated and panicked and went into and they killed her. And they flashed all their faces on the screen. The minute they found out who they was, they flashed their social media pictures, everything. Like, we can't let society throw our babies away. We can't let the Tommy Sotomayor's of the world just come on and be like, roll that beautiful beam footage and then just demean and tear down black children when he's the father of black children. We throw our own away. We act like getting it together and building organizations and doing things to help our kids is like the worst thing in the world. Like, I ain't got time for that shit. All you hear black people say when it comes to our youth is, I don't got time for that. They hard-headed. They not going to listen. We make every excuse in the world not to help them. And then when society fucks them up and they're out here causing mayhem and doing, well, it ain't my kid. See, at the basis of our African existence is the village. The one disconnect that I think African Americans is starting to really lose is that disconnect of the family, of the village. Where all the kids of the village are taken care of by all the elders. We don't do that anymore. And that's why I emphasize on the last show the importance of black culture. Because see, black culture is about loving our kids, loving our family. The whole idea of conservatism comes from the black family base. To conserve the resources and conserve the love and conserve the energy and conserve our family. So we shun outside marriages. We shun sharing all our resources with everybody because this is for our village and this is for our family. But we're not doing that presently for our youth. Yeah, it's cool to have mentoring programs and things of that nature, but we're in the 21st century, family. We can't do what our parents did. We got to step our game up. We got to go another level. So if we're mentoring, we got to mentor with a purpose. We got to mentor with an agenda. Our mentoring has to be to get this kid or this child on the right path of success in life and not just to be a part of something to put a Band-Aid on it. We can no longer put Band-Aids on our lack of love, affection, attention, and respect for young African American men and women. We do not respect them. We do not cherish them. We do not celebrate them. We chastise them. We ostracize them. We let the world handle them. So now they're out in broad daylight robbing old ladies with slippers on. No mask. Face shown. What in those little young ladies made to think that aggressive ass shit they did was right? Because they're broken. Any human being to think to punch an old lady in the face is broken. Any human being to think to bite a woman in the face who rejected him is broken. Any man that shoots a woman who stepped to him for disrespecting her is broken. And the people who promote the hating of black women and the hating of black men are broken. And they're the loudest voices in the room, along with the group of people who always want to talk shit about black people. How do we combat this dual scourge of nihilism and primitive behavior? How do we as a people attack it? How do we as individuals find a space, a place, a human that we can say, hey, listen, I see that you broken and maybe I can help you. But if you're broken and you're not in a space to help somebody, by all means help yourself. And then when you get the recipe how to help yourself, try to go and share it with others, especially the young. See, if I had somebody in my life when I was younger to be like, yo, man, when you get out the army, if this is what you do, have a plan. I had nobody. Everything I did was just based off my limited understanding, knowledge, beliefs, and will. And I made a lot of mistakes. But what I did once I learned from my mistakes, every time I got around young people that was doing what I was doing, I tried to give them a jewel on, yo, listen, make a transition from this. I can't tell you to stop doing it now because I can't tell you what to pick up, but make a transition. Start planning your out. Start planning your exit strategy. Because if you don't, someone will. Someone with binoculars in a van parked 3 blocks away with technology watching you on this block all day. They'll make the plans for you. Take it from me. Right? See, Triple OG, I'm with you, but that's the extreme thought process. I mean, he needs to be in jail for a very long time, but I don't. If he didn't kill her, he doesn't need to be killed. He just needs to be punished for his actions. And he owes her a huge fucking apology. And he should live the rest of his life trying to make up to her for maiming her, for interrupting her life, interrupting her trajectory. But I don't think the man should be executed. Because see, me personally, I'm trying to find real solutions. I'm trying to find real world, real time solutions before we be so demonized and so labeled, from our adults to our babies to our kids, to the point where we're just going to spend all our time trying to convince people that we're not the monsters that they think we are. Because that's what we have to spend most of our time doing now. Convincing other people that we're not these savages from the jungle. But then we have incidents like this that just come and knock down the building of any progress or any hay or headway we have made in showing people that we are evolved people. He may not be, he can, believe me, Triple OG, listen, I've been locked up with some motherfuckers I never thought could be rehabilitated. And being in the life that I live, I'll never say never. I've been around junkie. I know a junkie who was our security. He slept in an abandoned building for 12 straight years. 12. Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 12. I wish one day I'm going to have him on my show one day. And Lex was a bad man. Feared by not only junkies, hustlers, cops, and he was a homeless junkie living in the trap with the shoddy as his mate. Right now, Lex drives tractor trailers. Lex got a brand new, what was that Benz? I think he got that brand new Benz truck. So, 5, 10 years ago, you couldn't have told me that Lex, none of that. Only thing I knew Lex was going to do was rob somebody, hurt him, harm him. And he's doing good. So anybody can be rehabilitated. It's if you want it. You got to want it. Like those young people I'm talking about helping, they got to want it. But you got to put something in front of them to want. If you don't know what you want, how can you want something? You ever go to a restaurant like, damn, I don't know what I want. Right? And then you got to think about it. And then you got to look at the menu. You got to see your options. What menu are we putting in front of them? If you broken, your schools are fucked up, your household fucked up, what menu are people putting in front of them to say, here's your options, baby. What do you want to do? Whatever you want to do on that, and I have the means or the resources or the people to help you get that accomplished, I'm willing to do it. Will we ever make a commitment to young people like that? Do they have to be perfect young people? Do they have to be on their way to college? What do they have to be? Can they have a background? Can they not have a background? Because see, having a background in America is kind of like a scarlet letter. So do we give them options? Do we say to them, welcome to life, how can I help you? They're not in school. Schools are not open, so there's no guidance counselors, teachers, mentors, and things of that nature. It's curfews, it's all type of stores, businesses, the police. Everything ain't the same. It's an eerie cloud over the world right now. And as much as we try to get back to normal and have restaurants and have sports, you can still feel the eerie cloud, those empty arenas and all that. All that shit is still awkward. And we want to look past it because we don't really necessarily have the wherewithal to understand where we at. But best believe your conscience, your psyche, your brain, it's doing the calculations. It's doing its processing. And it's placing itself in a position to process this. And then a lot of times the equation or the operating system it goes back to your primal operating system. Not your advanced. So you on Windows 5 now instead of 10. Cause man, I can't take another one of those stories, man. I can't take another one of those. Like me personally, I rarely look at those stories when young black people do extreme shit. I can't stomach them. And it's not that I'm condoning, or I just feel intense sadness and intense just pain that another young life is just thrown away for some barbaric action, and just there was nobody there to save them. And it happens so much, and it's so prevalent. It's just like, wow. And we get comfortable with watching society throw our babies away. They threw Tamir Rice away. They threw him away. And there was nothing we could do about it. So we're just so immune to watching them throw our babies away. So when our babies throw their own lives away, we just throw our hands up in nihilism like, it's part of the course. But see, unlike our counterparts, we don't think about recycle, right? They big into recycling, right? Everything about them, they recycle plastic. They got their own shopping bags. They don't bring the plastic bags home. You go to the white people's house, they got their shopping bag. They take it to the store because they recycle it. They reuse it. They don't throw it away like we do. Back to my other show, the J.D. Vance, right? Hillbilly Effigy. Setting up recycling plants to bring in the dirty plastic and make it anew. Make it anew. See, because as you know, this is Black History Month, and one of the martyrs of Black history is Emmett Till. They literally threw Emmett Till away. They literally threw his body away, and his mom said, "No, bring his body out. I want them to see what they did to my son. I want the world to see what they thought of my son." See, they thought my baby was trash, but I'm going to show him even in his ugly state that he ain't trash. This is my son that you did this to. He's valuable. He means something to me. Just because he didn't mean something to you, that doesn't even mean something to me. Do we value our children? Do we value our young people? Or do we let their growing pains, right? Do we let the labor of their lives deter us from hugging and loving them? Do we let their primal behavior that we see manifesting as pain in public spaces, do we allow that to deter us from showing them the right way? As adults, we congregate in these spaces, and as adults, we feel comfortable telling each other what to do, how to date, how to mate, who to fuck, when to fuck, how to fuck. Adults with careers, kids, grandkids, we think we can use this space to change each other. Grown-ass adults. But we won't take that same energy and that same idea and turn it and flip it and throw it to the kids. We'll say on here, them ain't my kids, fuck them. You'll hear that come out of Black men and women's mouths. And then we wonder why we on the bottom, because we don't think to recycle. We don't think to become anew. We let them throw us away. And then when they not looking, we go in the trash and we pull it out and we try to knock all the other the coffee crumbs off our head and the bananas, and we try to get the gravy and all the other stuff that we ate all week that was on us in the trash, and we try to get it off, and we try to say, oh, I'm going to try to reclaim myself. But we didn't have the courage to stop them from throwing it in the trash and say, hey, wait, don't throw that in there. That's good. That's worth something. See, they search for value on the beach. They'll go out and mine for coins, mine for anything. Kyle Rittenhouse killed 2 people and the whole goddamn white race came to his fucking rescue. His mom had $17 in the bank. His bail was $2 million and he's still on some fuck shit. The chief of police told the fucking lawyer to hide him. But we throw our babies away. And we let them throw our babies away. And when our babies do something wrong, we say, fuck them. Kyle Rittenhouse shot 2 people and killed them. Maimed another one. He was 17 outside playing militia. And they see value in him. I've heard Black people on Black spaces call him a hero. And then talk shit about other Black kids. We got Life of Grandmaster Troll saying it was self-defense because he's a Republican. I like GMT, but at this juncture, this is where me and him would disagree, and it'll probably go bad. Because he's one of those ones that think that if a Black kid does something wrong, they are fucking the scourge of the earth. He's saying that Kyle Rittenhouse was in self-defense. Kyle Rittenhouse shouldn't have even been out there. He shouldn't have had a weapon in his hand. He shouldn't have been out there playing militia. So for playing grown-up, now he gonna get grown-up tricks. He gonna get grown-up gifts. Because he going to prison. That's for sure. That wasn't self-defense. He wasn't defending anything. He was playing. He was a little boy on some bullshit and thought because he was white, he can get away with it. Did you see when he walked away after shooting at people, how the cops waved at him? Let's change the color. Let's say 17-year-old Tariq Wilson got the gun. He got the AK-47, and he walking back down the street of Kenosha, Wisconsin. Would the response from the police officer be, hey, you want a water? Or would they have shot his ass? Mr. Self-Defense. You wouldn't be saying it with self-defense. You would be saying his ass shouldn't have been out there. He a Pookie and a Ray Ray. Peace, Kevin Kelly. Salute, bro. So we throw our babies away and then we watch the rest of their communities. Like it was an incident in New Jersey where, I don't know if y'all remember, at Rutgers University, where the guy, him and his white roommate, they tortured their roommate, right? And he killed himself, right? And they charged the kids with his not with his murder or with his homicide, his suicide, but just with intimidation. And that Indian kid's family went to bat for him. They went to bat for him. But we don't go to bat for our own. We don't, like, I remember it was an incident. I was in New York. I was on the subway. I was getting on the 7th line, and I was on 59th. No, I was getting on the 1 train. It was on 59th. And there was these two brothers, two little young dudes, and they was harassing the Chinese people and shit, because that's where a lot of Chinese people get on the train, right? And they was harassing them, like, get out, see, I want to sit there. So I'm with this fine ass, oh my God, I'm with this fine, oh my God. Whew, if you out there, mama, whoo. So me and her, we on the sub, we going on a date, so we dress nice, we looking good and shit. And I'm just like watching them harass the people. So I just kindly went up to them, was like, listen, fellas, check this out, man. I need y'all to stop doing this shit, man, because this is what they want us to do, man. They want us to act like this, man, so they can call the cops on y'all, and these cops will come down here and fuck y'all up. And I don't want to see that, because if them cops start fucking y'all up, then I'm going to get in it. Then my life going to be fucked up, because I don't want to see them fucking y'all up. So take this $20, man, and y'all go get y'all something to eat and chill out, man. And they was like, you know what, big bro, you right. They took the $20 and they left. See, I do that shit. I don't let young black kids fucking cause mass hysteria. If I see a window, an end for me to say something, I try my best. I'm not always successful, but I've had some successes. Don't put yourself in harm's way, but if you can see an end where you don't see that it will blow up, and you see one that's willing to listen, or you see that they might have the ability to listen, try. Just try. They worth it, y'all. They worth it. They are future. We gonna get old and die. We can't throw them away. We can't act like it's okay to throw them away so they can be out here punching old ladies in the face and shit. And now they're fucking America's Most Wanted. And they got the camera in the white lady's face and showing her black eye and then showing them. They're creating an image that's going to turn people's stomach. That's going to have young black girls in Philly public enemy #1. We can't have our beautiful black young women as public enemy #1s. They can't be the fucking new face of thuggery. We got to think about recycling our own. We got to think about that thing. What that mean is making something old or new, using it for something else. Not using it to, like, and in Pennsylvania, just on a short note, right? In Pennsylvania, they had a story maybe like 2 years ago where it was a judge that got caught selling teen offenders to the private prison system. So they become a business, a cottage industry. And crazy part about it is the Biden administration in one of their executive orders stopped the federal government from doing business with private prisons. And who y'all think they put in these private prisons, y'all? Us. They just want our babies to be slaves, y'all. So they can be in these prisons out in these small farming communities that give these white people jobs. It's all a hustle. They want to see our babies fucked up. And because we caught up in the shit, it seemed like some of us want to see them fucked up too. So that we can go get good jobs and shit. And be jail guards and shit and youth offenders. And because we get a nice paycheck, we just don't see their humanity. Or if we like one of them, we'll bring them cookies and shit like that, which is cool. When I was locked up, I had COs that liked me and shit and would bring me steaks and shit. Motherfuckers that knew me from the outside and shit. Be like, yeah, Buck, man, I bought you a sandwich from lunch and shit like that. You know, that's cool. It kept my spirit up and shit. Let me know they thought I was a human being. That's one thing about me. When I remember one time I got locked up with my man Keith. This was my man from high school. And you know, you got to go on, not central booking, but when you get to the county, you got to go on his main thing to get, you know, processing shit. And he had the thing, right? And he was like, oh, I know what you in here for, because I wasn't in there for, I didn't commit no crime. I had some other ticket shit, and it wasn't even me. But, you know, when you in the white town, they don't want to hear that shit till you can prove it. But when he seen my name hit the bulletin that I was coming in, he was like, oh, shit. But he seen it, was like, okay, my boy is good. But they never threw me away. No matter how many times I came in there, they was like, damn, bro, come on, man, get it together, man. Peace, D. Good looking out for coming through, D. Shout out from the talented 10. You remember I called you that day on the Books channel. That's what's up, D. That's what's up. Right? Like, I had some people throw me away, then I had some people pull me out the trash and be like, man, fuck ain't bad, man. Right, Antea? Right? You pulled me out the trash, right? But in most times, I pulled myself out of the trash and wiped myself off and got them coffee grinds all out my eyelids and got the motherfucking macaroni noodles from the back of my ear when I pulled myself out the trash. Because I pulled myself out the trash. I was homeless, y'all. Real talk. Me and my man, we used to live in the middle of the hood, right? In the summertime, we had a couch, we had a table, we had some other shit, and it was like, we had a gazebo, but we had it in the back of this abandoned house, right? But it was fenced up, so you really couldn't see unless you came through the cut, right? And we stayed back there for about 2 or 3 weeks. Because I was fucked up. Got locked up. You know what I'm saying? The money at the broad crib. She hear about another broad. Shit, mom like, no, because you're going to bring drugs in my house. I had nowhere to turn. And I picked myself up and I dusted myself off. And a year later, I was at NYU. And I'm not saying that like, you know, I'm just saying like, some of us have the ability to pick ourselves up, but some of us don't. And we need a helping hand. And giving somebody a helping hand ain't welfare. It ain't, you know, conservative values don't mean you don't supposed to help people. And if we better understood what conservative value was, what made me choose NYU? I went to Temple first, right? Right? And I went to history class one day, and there was this dude, my man Broderick, right? He was my man, you know, just, you know, when you're in college, you just find 1 or 2 people that you just kick it with and shit, right? You don't be wanting to be everybody's friend, right? That's not possible. Especially, I was an older adult student, so it wasn't like I was an incoming freshman. I had just spent 5 years in the Army, so I was a little more older than most of my classmates. And I had a kid and everything, right? I'd be in class with my fucking son in class with me. But Roderick was a good dude, quiet, cool as hell. We used to go chill. We had these 2 little female friends we used to kick it with. One day, Roderick came to class with crutches and shit and was like, what's up, man? I was like, what the fuck happened? He's like, man, I got shot going to the L. Then 3 weeks later, I'm in the chemistry class. Chinese dude come in class like, damn, what the fuck happened to you? Oh man, I got shot, man. Come, motherfucker tried to rob me coming out of. I was like, you know what? Let me get the fuck out of North Philly. So I waited a year. I went back home hustling and shit. But we used to go to New York. We used to go to this restaurant called Acme Bar and Grill. It was on Broadway and Great Jones Avenue. Me and my man Al. When we go cop, we would go uptown, we come back downtown, and we go to Acme Bar and Grill, and we sit down and have a dinner and talk about how we're going to do what we got to do. And every time I walk by NYU, I would just always get quiet. I wouldn't talk or say, this motherfucker, man, what's wrong with you, man? You crazy. Every time I walk through West 4th Street, walking through the park, I would get quiet. I was like, man, I just like this place, man. There's something about this shit. And life played itself out, blah, blah, blah. Things happened. And I was on the computer one day and they had this open session just to find out about the school. So I was recovering from also bad stomach problems. So I just took a brochure and I went and checked. And, I prayed on it, my way of praying. I took the placement test. I turned in my SATs and my scores from high school, and the lady called me 2 weeks later and was like, come in. And when I came in, she told me I got one of the highest scores on the placement test, and it was history. Then I went to the bookstore and I met this young lady named Antea Williams. She was there, right, Antea? Isn't that how that happened? You and Miss Rose. I had all them goddamn books. So yeah, it was fate. And let me tell you another story. I remember the first time, and I used to have this one bench I used to sit at all the time, right? Like right in the park where you could just see everything, right? Where you could just see the people coming in from the south side of the park or the north side of the park or the east or west side of the park. It was just perfect. If you ever seen the movie I Am Legend, right? And when he came out with the dog and how Washington Crossing Park is like really quiet and shit, it's a bench right there. Like that's where I used to sit at. And the first time I ever took my son Jordan with me to NYU, he was like, come on, Dad, let's sit down. And he sat down at that same bench. So it was fate. It was destined. And I made it happen. And I graduated. I didn't do anything with the degree. I mean, I went back home and doubled down on hustling. Why, I don't know. But that's why, man. It was meant to be. It was just meant to be. And I met a lot of amazing people and I did a lot of amazing things. And as you can see, Antea Williams is here. And that's one of the first people I ever really met and got a real meaningful relationship at NYU. And me and her friends to this day. And I met her 20 years ago. 20 years ago. She came to my graduation. So for all y'all people that don't think I didn't graduate from NYU, she was at my graduation. She was there. And the crazy part about it is my baby mom ain't let my kids come. Told when her sister asked her why you don't let them come, she was like, that nigga ain't do good when he was with me, so I ain't about to let him celebrate him. Hood shit. So that's what it was. And nobody threw me away. So the moral of the story is, don't throw yourself away. If you see young people fucking up, do your best to address it if you can. Right? Let's not throw our race away, folks. Let's not help the world push us off the map. Let's not let them label and destroy our babies right in front of us and then we act powerless to do anything. See, we get involved in these arguments that white people have about feminism and progressive and moderate and all this and that. And we just pick up those labels to kind of distract us and be a part of a team. But do we check for the home team? Do we check for the team that got us where we at? Do we give back to that team? Thank you, Miss FedEx. I appreciate that. Do we give back to the team that got us there? Yeah, listen, but the good thing about it, Renaissance, is that no matter what she did, she didn't deter my son, because my son will graduate this summer with his bachelor's degree from Rider University. So she didn't deter him. If anything, she inspired him. If anything, she put the universe in action to make sure what she tried to stop him from seeing, he accomplished anyway. And now her life in shambles. So when you try to hurt somebody, that hurt end up happening to you. And I pray for it. I wish that her life get better because I do love her and she my first love. But she was so disappointed. She threw me away, literally. Like that. This is a tale of somebody. She threw me away. She didn't think that I was redeemable. Once I left her and once our thing fell apart, she was done with me. Literally. Like, I'm done with it. And then when I went and got my life together and I didn't do it while I was, because when I was with her, I was just a wild young drug dealer that just drove her crazy. And she couldn't understand that all the potential I had, I couldn't do with her because she wasn't the person who propelled me to do that. She didn't have it to spur me to do better. She couldn't motivate me to do better. But in her inability to motivate me to do better and throw me away, she motivated our son to do better. And our son is a great human being. I mean, my son is the bomb. Literally. I want to have him on here, but he said, yo, if I would be on there, we gonna do a show together. I ain't just coming as your special guest, because I ain't your guest. We gonna do it together. We ain't gonna. I was like, little nigga, this is my show. But he wants to do it together. And we may do it when all this calmed down, and we may do it. Y'all will love my boy. My boy is smart and wonderful. He don't got my angst. He don't got my aggressiveness. He's humble and calm like his mother. But he's passionate and militant like me. And there was times I wanted to throw my son away for certain shit that he did. Yeah, I'm going to let him rock up, y'all. I'm going to let him rock. I'm going to let his little ass rock. Just tell you old women, don't be trying to come for my son when he come on here either. Don't be trying to cougar my baby. Let my baby live. We don't need no cougars in the field. Because he a good looking little nigga and I don't want you cougars on his heels. I done already had motherfuckers be like, ooh, damn, that's your son. Yes, that's my son. They think we brothers. We look so much alike, they think we brothers, but we ain't. It's my baby. And I call him my baby in front of people. He 25 years old. Because I love my baby. See, my baby, he saved me. He gave me a reason to live. Because prior to him coming to this world, I really didn't have a reason to live. And I struggle with that. Like, I struggle with thinking that it was a time in my life where I didn't want to live. Yeah, they gonna be coming for a little light-skinned nigga, man, because he light-skinned his skin, you know, he young and he chest all sticking down and shit, you know what I'm saying? He's smart, so he gonna be on here causing problems. I'm hating on his little ass. I'm gonna block his part of the thing where I'm gonna have him real dark so y'all can't see him. But he saved me. He gave me a reason to live. And sometimes, you know, you need that. You need that. Sweet Pea, you keep saying I ain't light-skinned. Sweet Pea, I am light-skinned than a motherfucker. You just can't see it because you're not. Well, I'm red, Sweet Pea. I'm not like, I was light-skinned, but been working out in them fields and shit kind of gave me a permanent tan. Cutting that grass and shit gave me a permanent tan. But 10 years ago, Sweet Pea, I was light-skinned. I just been cutting grass. Like, if you see old pictures of me, you'll see how light I was. Like, I don't have none on here. But if you see old pictures of me, let me see if I can find something. If you see old pictures of me, you'll see how light I am. Like, if you see my old army pictures or my old pictures when I was in the hood, you'll see how light I was. I am light. I'm way light. Taya, can you tell her I'm way lighter than Tyra Banks? I'm way lighter than Tyra Banks. Way lighter. Way lighter. Way lighter. Yeah, you don't, Sweet Pea, I'm light-skinned, baby. You don't see that? Look. You see that? That's white. That ain't that's passing the paper bag test with flying colors. Way lighter. Like, I don't know, maybe you just got a bad camera or something, but I'm light-skinned, Sweet Pea. That ain't brown skin. Have a brown skin. See how the white light reflecting off the white skin? Like, hi. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I just been out in the sun lately. That's all, cutting grass and shit. And I don't like to wear hats all the time because it be too goddamn. Them hats be getting in the way. Well, folks, man, that's it for me today, man. I just wanted to come chop it up with y'all, man, and you know, hopefully promote the idea of recycling, man, so we can save these babies, man, so they could just stop being all reckless, man, and doing all this crazy shit they doing, man, because they doing a lot of crazy shit, man. It's just unnecessary. It's just unnecessary. But yo, man, I love y'all with the blood of Jesus. And thank y'all for coming through. This your mans, and I'm out.